Mix TV presents the Southeast Tennessee Sports Show, presented by Check Into Cash, your one-stop money shop. Also by Hardee's. Hardee's tastes like America. Now it's time for your local sports highlights and interviews with your host, Ryan Lovelace.
Welcome to the Southeast Tennessee Sports Show presented by Check Into Cash and Hardee's. I'm your host, Ryan Lovelace. Today we have a really exciting episode. We're going to start out, as always, with our scoreboard update. Then we're going to check some standings. Then we're heading to Walker Valley to interview both our male and female performer of the week. And then we take a quick break. We preview our game of the week, which is Silverdale at Boyd Buchanan. We come back here, look at the upcoming schedules, and we close out the show. So wasting no time and hopping right into our Hardee scoreboard update. Last Friday, Baylor, big win over CCS. CCS has lost back-to-back games versus Silverdale and Baylor, but Baylor comes out with a big win. Meanwhile, East Hamilton with the 70-burger over Sequoia and the shutout, 70-0, big win for East Hamilton. Ray County wins a tight one versus Anderson County. Ray County with a come-from-behind victory to win by 2. Meanwhile, McMinn Central picks up their first win of the year at Polk County. Polk County loses their first game of the year at home. Walker Valley traveled up to Carter in a game that was predicted to be a lot closer than this, but Walker Valley, big game from Eli Denton, big game from Ryan Lay. You'll hear from Eli just in a few minutes, but Walker Valley with a big statement win. Meanwhile, Meigs County, their first time playing in 3 weeks due to COVID, they look sharp on first responders and military appreciation night at Meigs County. They come out with a big 34-point win. Bradley travels up to Athens, always a tough place to play, but the Bradley Bears defense, Bradley Bears offense, everybody showed out for Bradley. They're still undefeated, big win over McMinn County. And then East Ridge came to Cleveland. Cleveland had a shutout through 3 3/4 quarters. East Ridge scores against Cleveland's backups. Cleveland still wins big. Moving on to soccer. Last night, Cleveland beats Ottawa in Golden Goal. Ashlyn Robbins, who we've talked to on the show before, scores the game-winning goal. Meanwhile, a big region game. McMinn beats Walker Valley 2-1. That game was tied with about 5 minutes left before McMinn scored the go-ahead goal. Bradley in soccer last night, they tied with Sequatchie County, a very tight game throughout. Switching to volleyball, Walker Valley sweeps Ottawa, winning in 3 sets. Also, Walker Valley sweeps McMinn County, winning in 3 sets. Cleveland, a big volleyball matchup versus volleyball powerhouse Knox Catholic. They win in 4 sets. They drop the first set, win the next 3. Big win for Cleveland. Continuing on with Cleveland, they handle McMinn County. They sweep them 3-0. Bradley also sweeps Howard 3-0. And now let's move right into our standings. Still a little early in the season, but it's not too early to look at the standings. In Region 6A, in Region 2, 6A, Maryville, obviously, they're the powerhouse. They sit in first, tied with Bradley Central, both undefeated in the region. Bearden sits there 1-0 in the region. Meanwhile, Cleveland, Farragut, and Hardin Valley all sit at 0-1. In 5A, the Walker Valley Mustangs are up a game on Ray County. McMinn County 0-1 in the region. Ottawa 0-1. Howard has yet to play a region game. Meanwhile, in 4A, East Hamilton, you saw them just score 70 points. They're 2-0 in the region. Chattanooga Central's also 2-0. Red Bank 1-0. East Ridge, Cleveland just beat them. They're 0-3, 0-1 on the year. In 3A, Signal Mountain, they're 3-1 on the year, 1-0. They come in 3rd in the region. Meanwhile, McMinn Central 1-3, they're 0-1 in region play. You can see the rest of the standings there. In 2A, Meigs County, they are 1-0 in region. They are the only team that's played a region game in the region, and it was a COVID win over Bledsoe County, who does not get accredited a loss for that game. And then in 1A, more of the same. Just like 2A, not a single team in that region has played a region game. So both those divisions up in the air. It's still early. But moving on to D2. In Class 3A in the East Middle region, Pope John Paul and McCauley are both undefeated. Well, and Knox Catholic are undefeated. And Knox Catholic will play McCauley this week. That's a big game. We'll talk some more about that later. Meanwhile, Father Ryan and Baylor are both tied at the bottom at 0-1. Meanwhile, the surprise of Chattanooga in Class AA East, Silverdale 3-0, undefeated this year, undefeated in the region. Preseason, they were picked to finish 6th in the region, second to last. They'll be playing Boyd Buchanan, who sits in last this week. You also see Notre Dame at 1-2. They're 0-1 in region. Chattanooga Christian 1-3, 0-1 in region. You can see the rest of the standings there. And that's it for our standings recap. Obviously, still very early in the year. A lot of big region games are going down tonight. But we're going to send it over to Walker Valley to speak with our male and female performer of the week.
Ryan Lovelace here at Walker Valley High School, joined by our male performer of the week, Eli Denton. Eli, a huge week last week. Not only did you shut down Carter defensively, but the offense was on point. Can you talk about just how good this team was from top to bottom last week?
Well, honestly, our defense really just dominated the whole game. We came out first quarter, and, that big slant across the middle, nailed the kid. But I really think that we just really played dominant and really kept to what our script said and played what the coaches wanted us to play like, and really think it just came out with a W for us.
So a big part of that dominant defense, you were flying around. You had 22 total tackles, 4 for loss, and a sack. So what was the key to you having a big game?
Just watching film, seeing what they were going to do, when they were going to do it, and kind of keying in on the little things, like if a dude tugs on his shoulder where he's going, or just the little things that you can pick up. But honestly, I pray before the game, and I give all the glory to God.
So you were an all-state linebacker last year. Obviously, you want to repeat, get that title again. But what are some other individual goals you have?
I want to get at least 110 tackles this year, and I don't know. I want to go back-to-back all-state linebacker.
So obviously, this team is having one of its best years in program history. What are the goals for the team this year?
The first one is win the region championship. Second one is go to the semis and finals. And the third one is have back-to-back winning seasons.
So how'd you get into football, and how long have you been playing?
I started playing when I was around 7 years old. I played in that little league down in Charleston, but I've been playing since I was 7 and loved it ever since.
So what NFL player do you try and model your game after?
Ray Lewis. He played at Miami. That's my favorite team. I watched him during the Ravens, and he was just biggest hitter on the field, so I want to be just like him.
Lastly, a little fun question. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Probably speed, because I'm a little slow.
Ryan Lovelace here with Eli Denton. He thinks he's a little slow, but he's flying around the field for this Mustang defense. We're going to take a quick look at some of his highlights, and then we're going to head down to the soccer field to speak with our female performer of the week. Ryan Lovelace still here at Walker Valley High School, joined by our female performer of the week, Bree Romero. Bree, this girls' soccer team has been dominant over the past 5 years, dominating the district, and it's looking like more of the same this year. Off to a hot start, 5-2, undefeated in district play. How good has this team been this year?
Honestly, we've done really good. I'm really proud of these girls. They've really showed that we can dominate in this district and that we can show other teams that we're a good team and we're always ready to fight.
So just like this team, you're off to a hot start, 6 goals in 7 games. What has been your secret to success this season?
Honestly, my teammates, they've just been really there for me, and they've been there for my key plays, and they've just been there for me, and it's just my teammates, honestly.
So what are your individual goals for this year?
Honestly, I just really want to help my team beat our district rival, McMinn County. They're a really good team, and we're really looking to beat them this year like any other year, and my personal goal is just to do good in that game.
So what are these teams' goals for this year?
Honestly, beating McMinn County, and honestly, just getting better as a team since we've lost quite a few good seniors. Honestly, usually after we lose quite a few of good seniors, it's kind of like a rebuild year, but honestly with this team it isn't. We're always just been a good team, and the girls have always just showed that we're good no matter what.
So how long have you been playing soccer, and how'd you get into soccer?
Honestly, I don't know how many years, but I know I started when I was very young because my dad played, my older brother played, and my mom also played. So it's been since I was 5 or 3, around there. I've always just grew up around soccer.
So what soccer player do you model your game after, or who's your role model and why?
Honestly, everyone says Messi, but honestly, mine is Ronaldo because no one gives him as much appreciation because even though he worked for it. So his was more hard worked for. Messi's more he already knew how to play really good, I guess, and I just love Ronaldo's hard work and how he keeps on playing really good.
So lastly, a little fun question. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Probably I'd want to be super fast because I'm not a very fast player, so I really would probably speed.
All right, this has been Ryan Lovelace here at Walker Valley High School, joined by our female performer of the week. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to head over to Silverdale Baptist Academy to talk about our game of the week.
Did you wake up craving a made-from-scratch biscuit topped with tender prime rib and a fried egg? How about now? The new prime rib and fried egg biscuit at Hardee's. Feed your happiness.
You're watching the Southeast Tennessee Sports Show, presented by Check Into Cash and Hardee's. Now back to your host, Ryan Lovelace.
Ryan Lovelace here at Silverdale Baptist Academy, joined by head football coach Mike Connor. Coach, you guys are off to a hot start, to many people's surprise outside of this program. But what has been the key to getting off to this 3-0 start?
For us, everybody's going to think it's about the players in terms of their talent and all that, and that's a part of it. But the strength of this team is their connection. We really worked hard this summer to get our guys together, after coming out of the pandemic, and just spend time with each other and get to know each other. And that's what the difference is. This is a connected team, and because of that connection to each other, they're committed to each other.
So this year we've heard about Connor, we've heard about Brett, we've heard about Turner, all the numbers they've put up. But who are some of the unsung heroes of this team?
Well, I think you just met one of them when Kyle Shoemaker. That offensive front and that defensive front, the reason why the stats are so high for Brody Lamb and for Connor DeLashmet and Brett Rogers and even our wide receivers is because of the offensive line and defensive lines. Those guys right there are making plays.
So, again, a lot of doubters. You guys were picked to finish 6th in the region poll preseason. So how have you guys just gone out there and silenced the doubters so far?
We don't worry about all that stuff. They talk. We're concerned about us. We're concerned about how can we get better each day. So we don't worry about all that. I mean, obviously a little chip on the shoulder. We want to be respected, and we want to be. I told you earlier, we want to change the story about Silverdale football, and people to know that we're here to play.
So nearly a third of the way through the season. But what are your expectations and what are your goals for this team the rest of the year?
I just want us to finish strong. Each week, every day we're trying to get better. And, you know, what was good for Monday ain't good for Tuesday. And what was good for Tuesday ain't good for Wednesday. So we're constantly trying to improve. You know, we worked hard today. We had a great practice yesterday, but yesterday's practice wasn't good enough for today. And so whatever that potential is for this team, my hope is that we reach that full potential.
So lastly, real quick, you're going on the road, face Boyd Buchanan, a little crosstown rivalry game. How have you guys prepared for that, and what are your keys to success for this game?
Well, I think, you know, in terms of preparation, it's just what I said. We're trying to protect the mission, and that mission is to be better today than we were yesterday and be better tomorrow than we are today. In terms of what are the keys to the game, the box, you know, the offense and defensive lines and what they're able to do with their strength is probably their box. You know, we've got to play relentless. We got to play one play at a time, and we've got to play our style of ball and not worry about what they're doing. That'll be the key.
All right, this has been head football coach Mike Connor here at Silverdale Baptist Academy. Now we're going to speak with some of his athletes. Ryan Lovelace here with
Cam Mullins,
Turner Drunkins,
Brody Lamb,
Kyle Shoemaker.
So, Turner, the offense has just been amazing this year. Can you talk about how good this offense has been, but also talk about your transition from quarterback last year to receiver this year?
Yeah, I think it's been really good. Me going out to receiver, it's just a better fit for the offense. Brett's doing great. Our O-line's doing great. Everyone's just fitting in where they need to be.
So you mentioned this O-line. Obviously, you guys have Brett, Connor, and yourself that are putting up crazy numbers. But the real heroes of this offense has just been the offensive line. So can you talk about just this offensive line as a unit, how good they've been?
Yeah, I think we're super undersized compared to all the people we play, and they just kind of push us off to the side and, you know, think we're not going to do much. But we're a four-quarter team. We're going to go out and hit you in the mouth every play.
So defensively, you guys are allowing 17 points a game on average. Can you talk more about just how good the defense has been?
Yeah, we've really stepped it up since last year, and we lost a lot of D linemen, but our smaller D linemen really stepped it up this year, and they fight like dogs, and we got a lot of good players in the backfield.
So coming in this season, you guys were predicted to finish 6th in the region. Right now, you sit in 1st. Nobody picked you guys to beat CCS, so you've had plenty of doubters. So how are you guys responding to the doubters?
We just worry about the 45 guys in the locker room. We don't listen to any talk, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, from the outside, and we just worry about ourselves and going out and hitting you in the mouth for four quarters.
So I know we're a little bit into this season, but what are your individual goals for the rest of the year?
Just to continue to build bonds with this team that will last beyond my senior season.
I would just say being the best team Silverdale's ever had.
Just keep going out and giving it all we got every day.
I'd say just going out and giving it everything you have, you know, winning each moment.
So how did you guys get into football, and how long have you guys been playing?
I started playing football when I was 7, then I quit until 6th grade, and I've played ever since then.
I've been playing football ever since I was 5. My dad got me into it.
Yeah, I played in 4th grade and quit, and I started back up in 6th grade, and my family just pushed me into it.
Yeah, I started playing in 5th grade.
So who is your role model and why?
My dad, he's just the cornerstone for our family, and whatever needs to be done, he gets it done.
I would say Coach Rorik's here. He's just an unbelievable guy and treats everyone the same.
I'd say Coach Capehart. Me and him have been tight since like 7th grade, and he's been a great coach for me.
Yeah, I'd say Coach Connor, he's really come in and just changed the beliefs of our program and really just turned it around.
So lastly, a little fun question. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Super strength.
Super speed.
I'm about to go with super strength.
I'm going to have to be invisible.
This has been Ryan Lovelace at Silverdale Baptist Academy, joined by 4 Seahawks. They will face Boyd Buchanan tonight at 7 p.m. They're going to make the trip over there, and now we're going to do the same to speak with Coach Boskin and some of his Buccaneers. Ryan Lovelace here at Boyd Buchanan High School, joined by head football coach Jeremy Boskin. Coach, a big start to your season. You won your first game, but then you lost your next two tough losses. How have you preached resiliency to this team?
And I think that's what we've been talking a lot about in the locker room, and looking back on it and letting the wounds heal a little bit. There are more lessons than losses. We learned a lot about ball security. We learned a lot about field position. We learned a lot about discipline and foolish penalties. And I think those early lessons from the beginning of the seasons is really going to help us out as we go forward.
So you mentioned they were lessons. You guys are 1-2, but this football team's a lot better than that record. So what are your goals and expectations for this team the rest of the year?
Oh, this team's really good right now. We've lost a couple key pieces, but we got a lot of young guys stepping up. Offense is doing really good right now, hitting on all strides, learning to protect the football, but still about 450 yards offense a game. Defense has been phenomenal. The effort is there. Just controlling it between the whistles is what we've really been working on. So going forward and looking at the schedule, and as front heavy as it has been with the number 4 team in the state, number 5 team in the state, knowing where we're at now, what we have learned and what we've learned about this team, we're excited about it.
So you mentioned some of the young guys. Who are some of the young guys that have stepped up for this team this year?
Oh, wow. First-time quarterback Mason Ratchford, and you're going to see another quarterback that we have, Houston Hicks, who's a freshman. Matt Stone is a junior who's done a great job also. Jalen Moore has done a phenomenal job at one of our outside receivers. Hasn't quite gotten the catches yet, but his presence there alone is demanding double teams. Caden Johnson, a junior, I think he's one of the leading receivers in the area. Bronze Donaldson is really coming into his own. On defense, Reed Petway and Tyler Moore up top has really kind of set a presence for our secondary. That's one of the best in the area. And then you look at our defensive front, and with Jalen Sandifer, middle linebacker, who's a sophomore, he'll be an SEC linebacker one day. Jacob Shockley's really done a great job out there. And once again, the same guys kind of going back and forth and the way they can help each out. I mean, we're excited about what Caden's bringing and Carter Walmack's bringing and all those guys.
We're going to talk to some of your guys just here in a few seconds. But lastly, another tough one against Silverdale. How are you guys preparing, and what are your keys to coming out with a victory tonight?
This is one of those games that you don't even really need a scouting report, because our kids know their kids inside and out. Their kids know our kids. They hang out on the weekends. They play each other basketball, baseball year-round. This has been a week where we really focus on us. It's not really playing against them, but playing for each other. That's been our main focus.
All right, this has been head coach of the Boyd Buchanan Buccaneers, Coach Jeremy Boskin. Now we're going to speak with some of his athletes. Ryan Lovelace, joined by
Mason Ratchford, Malachi Powell,
Jaden Madison, Carson Gay.
So, Carson, you've done a lot this year. You just recently tore your ACL. You're done for the year. But prior to that, obviously you're committed to Virginia to play tight end, but you've done it all. Defense, you've blocked, you've done whatever the team needed you. Can you talk more about this team mentality you guys have here?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of what you said. I think anyone just on the team, we're already just kind of put in the work and do whatever we need to do to win. I mean, we got Malachi. He's over there. He plays every position on the team pretty much. I mean, we had Jaden's corner and receiver. We got linemen that play both ways. Everyone just kind of does their own thing just to do their part, which I think it just kind of speaks volume for all of us.
So this offense has been electric this year, averaging nearly 40 points a game. You came out, dropped 63 in your first game. Can you talk more about just how good this offense has been?
Well, I'd say the reason our offense is so good is because we get as many guys involved as we can. You know, we push the tempo and we spread the ball around, and I think that shows in the scores.
So, not to be overshadowed, this defense has been pretty good this year. Can you talk more about the defense?
Yeah, for us, defense, really, we've just been trying to stay solid throughout the secondary. Our defensive line really always is getting pressure to the QBs, so it makes it way easier as a secondary player because your job's easy when a quarterback don't have much time. But, yeah, we like to just keep it fast and physical, so we'll see what this week has in turn.
So speaking of this week, you guys play Silverdale. You've won 10 of the last 12, sort of crosstown rivalry game. How have you guys prepared for this one?
I mean, we know a lot of them, and we've just been watching a lot of film, a lot of game plan, so we just ready to come, play hard, and win.
So this is for all of you guys. What are your individual goals for the rest of the season?
I just want to be a leader on and off the field and obviously put as many points up on the board as I can.
Same thing as him. I just want to lead, show these guys, like, have fun. Like, you got these 4 years in high school. Don't take them for granted. And so hopefully go play college ball somewhere.
I want to try to lead by example and not get caught on, get the ball back for the offense. Yeah, it's kind of what they were saying. Just kind of be a good example, set the tone for all the younger guys, and then I guess just get ready for college.
So how did you guys get into football, and how long have you been playing?
I played Pee Wee football when I was little and then took a break, and I started playing again my sophomore year of high school. Just really missed the sport and missed the team aspect of the game.
For me, I've been playing since I was 4, and I just feel like I always have fun out here, and like even now I don't think of it as having to do something. It's still me just getting to be a kid and have fun.
This is my 8th year playing football, and I kind of wish I played it earlier. But, yeah, I've enjoyed every moment of it.
My dad just played college ball, so he just wanted me to get into it. I mean, I wanted to get into it through him, and I started a little bit through middle school. That was whenever I started.
So, what NFL player do you try to play like, or do you think you play like?
I would say Russell Wilson.
For me, I'm definitely saying Jalen Ramsey.
Deion Sanders.
Gronk.
All right, last question, a little fun one. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Super speed.
To be invisible.
To clone myself.
Shoot. That telepathic stuff. I don't know, control people's minds. I like that.
All right, this has been Ryan Lovelace at Boyd Buchanan High School, joined by 4 Buccaneers. They'll face Silverdale tonight at 7 o'clock. Now we're going to head back to the station to talk about the upcoming schedule.
As I mentioned, that Silverdale versus Boyd Buchanan game is bound to be a good one. But looking at the upcoming schedule for this week, we have a lot of fun games that we're going to talk about. Starting off right here, Cleveland will host Farragut. You can listen to that game on Mix 104.1, kickoff at 7 o'clock. Walker Valley will make the long trip to Smith County. You can listen to that on 99.1 The Fiesta. I skipped over Bradley hosting Hardee Valley. A lot of storylines for this game. First game on the turf for Bradley. Damon Floyd going for his 100th win. Homecoming. You can listen to that on 101.3 The Buzz. It will also be on Mix TV. McMinn Central hosts Brainerd. McMinn County will travel to Howard. Ooltewah will host Ray County in a big region game. Polk County, coming off their first loss, will travel to Tyner. We mentioned our game of the week, Silverdale at Boyd Buchanan. Sweetwater versus their region leading team, Kingston. Copper Basin and Sale Creek, that'll be the first region game in that region. Baylor versus Pope John Paul, obviously that's a big game. And then probably the biggest game of the week, McCallie and Knox Catholic, 2 state powerhouses going at it. Meanwhile, upcoming this week in soccer, Cleveland and Walker Valley will play Tuesday the 21st. Bradley will also be hosting Ooltewah, so 2 big district soccer games that night. And then on the 23rd, Cleveland will travel to Bradley. So a big crosstown rivalry week for Cleveland girls soccer. They'll host Walker on Tuesday, and Thursday they will travel to Bradley. Meanwhile, volleyball this weekend, Bradley will play a tournament at the River City Rumble. Cleveland will also be in a tournament at the Border Battle. Cleveland will then host Saudi on Monday. Bradley will host Red Bank on Monday. And then both teams will travel on Tuesday. Bradley going to Ray County, Cleveland going to Walker Valley. Another crosstown game for you this week. Then Wednesday, Cleveland will host Maryville. That game will take place during the school day for students. A fun little note there. And then on Thursday, Walker Valley will travel to Ray County, and Cleveland will host Ooltewah. A lot of big region games, not just in volleyball, but also in soccer and football. And we are very excited for us. We'll have a good show for you next week, recapping all of those scores, talking with some more athletes. But as for this, I'm Ryan Lovelace. Big shout out to Gideon Ratcliffe for editing and producing this show. But this is the Southeast Tennessee Sports Show presented by Check Into Cash and Hardee's. We will talk to you next week.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the Southeast Tennessee Sports Show presented by Check Into Cash and Hardee's. We will see you back here next week.